Tudo começou no dia 16 de março de 2023 no Aeroporto Internacional de Guarulhos. Lá, encontramos com o guia e um grupo de no total 41 pessoas. Pegamos o voo da British Airways e fomos fazer conexão no aeroporto de Londres. Tivemos as malas revistadas e depois de um tempo conseguimos seguir a viagem para o aeroporto.
Upon arriving in Cairo, we took a bus to the Radisson Blu Hotel Cairo Heliopolis. I stayed in a room alone, and it was already late, so I just wanted to sleep. The next day, we visited the pyramids, and I went inside the largest pyramid, the Pyramid of Khufu. We rode camels, which are actually dromedaries, but they are commonly called camels, saw the Sphinx, and then went to the papyrus factory. In the evening, we went on a Nile River cruise. During the Nile River cruise, there was a show of a man spinning clothing. This dance is known as the circle dance and is a collective dance that aims to encourage empathy, belonging, and social interaction. The bodily practice consists of a group of various ages and lifestyles coming together to perform choreography in a circle. There was also a belly dancer show. Belly dance is an ancient activity recorded since ancient Egypt. It brings movements related to dances for fertility gods, as well as nature elements. It is also believed that belly dance was part of a ritual that celebrated life and attracted fertility for women. After returning to the hotel and sleeping, the next day we went to the Muhammad Ali Mosque. Known as the Alabaster Mosque because of the material that covers it both inside and outside, the Muhammad Ali Mosque is located on the top of Mugatam Hill inside the citadel of Salah al-Din. The mosque was built between 1830 and 1857 under the order of Muhammad Ali in memory of his eldest son, who died in 1816. Then we went to the New Egyptian Museum. The newest museum in Egypt is considered the largest archaeological museum in the world. The gem is home to thousands of historical artifacts including the treasures of the boy king Tutankhamun and was built in the vicinity of the Great Pyramids of Giza. We visited an Egyptian perfume shop, one of the most famous, Royal Perfume, in Cairo. Egypt is known for its fragrances, and it is said that the Egyptians invented perfume and that the art of creating fragrances was later taken and spread by France, which explored the country extensively throughout world history. Then we went to the Church of the Holy Family in Egypt. The Coptic Christian church, St. Sergius or Abu Serga, is one of the oldest in Egypt. It is said to have been built on the cave where the Holy Family took refuge during their flight from Palestine to Egypt. On the north side, you can have a small glimpse of the cave through a glass. Then we crossed the Suez Canal. The Suez Canal is an artificial opening located on the Sinai Peninsula, Egypt, and allows maritime communication between the Red Sea and the Mediterranean Sea. Inaugurated on November 17, 1869, after 10 years of construction, it allows ships to travel between Europe and South Asia without having to navigate around Africa, thus reducing the distance. We then stopped on the way to have lunch in Abu Zinama, Janub Sina, Egypt. Then we arrived at a hotel in Santa Catarina, Sinai, and just left our things there because we climbed Mount Sinai during the night. Mount Sinai, also known in Hebrew as Mount Horeb or in Arabic as Jebel Musa, which means Mount Moses, is located in the south of the Sinai Peninsula, Egypt. This region is considered sacred by three religions: Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. It is a granite peak with an altitude of 2,285 meters where, according to the Bible and Jewish tradition, Moses received the tablets of the law. We started climbing at 10 p.m. and reached the summit at 3 a.m. and it was -3 degrees Celsius. On the descent of Mount Sinai, we saw the sunrise at around 5 a.m. Then we went to the bus towards the Red Sea, which is a sea of the Indian Ocean located between Africa and Asia, Arabian Peninsula, and its waters bathe Egypt, among other countries. Located south of the Sinai Peninsula, the Red Sea is more than 2,200 kilometers long and over 300 kilometers wide. Then we stopped for lunch on the road and I had the best ice cream in Israel. Then we arrived at the Dead Sea Resort and Spa, a 4-star resort located in Jordan, at the lowest point on Earth. It is a family resort and offers outdoor pools with slides and a terrace overlooking the Dead Sea in the middle of the afternoon, and I just wanted to rest because I was very tired from climbing Mount Sinai. So I only got up around 7 p.m. for dinner and then went back to sleep. The next morning, around 6:30 a.m., I went to visit the Dead Sea. The Dead Sea is an extremely salty body of water located in the Middle East, more precisely on the border of the territories of Israel, Palestine, and Jordan. It is known for its high concentration of salt and minerals that provide health and beauty benefits. The high salinity of the Dead Sea allows a person to float. It was very cold and I only wet my feet. We continued our journey at 8 a.m. to Qumran. Qumran is an archaeological site located in the West Bank, 1 mile from the northwest shore of the Dead Sea, 12 kilometers from Jericho, and about 22 kilometers east of Jerusalem. It is managed by the Qumran National Park in Israel. On the way, there was a large date palm plantation. Date palms are trees that produce dates, a fruit highly appreciated in the Middle East and other parts of the world. Afterwards, we stopped at the Mount of Temptation. The Mount of Temptation is a mountain located in the Judean region, near the city of Jericho. According to Christian tradition, it was at this site that Jesus was tempted by the devil during his 40-day fast in the desert. After that, I was baptized at Yardenit, the baptismal site on the Jordan River. Yardenit is a baptismal site situated along the Jordan River in Galilee, Israel. It is a popular place for Christian pilgrims who wish to be baptized in the waters of the river where Jesus was baptized by John the Baptist. Then we returned to the hotel in Tiberias. Tiberias is an Israeli city located on the western shore of the Sea of Galilee. It is an important tourist center due to its proximity to the Sea of Galilee and its religious significance for Judaism and Christianity. The city also serves as a regional industrial and commercial center. At night, we went for a walk in the city center and had ice cream at Pizza Bella. The next day, we visited the Mount of Beatitudes. The Mount of Beatitudes, or Mount of the Sermon on the Mount, is situated between the cities of Tabba and Capernaum. According to Christian tradition, it was the site where Jesus Christ preached the Sermon on the Mount to his followers, and one of the locations he chose to teach his people. Currently, the site houses beautiful gardens and a small church built in 1938. We saw the Sea of Galilee from the top of the Mount of Beatitudes. The Sea of Galilee, also known as the Lake of Tiberias or Gennesaret, is an extensive freshwater lake located in the northern district of Israel. It is the largest lake in the country and has a maximum length of about 19 kilometers and a maximum width of about 13 kilometers, with a total area of 166.7 square kilometers. After that, we headed to Capernaum. Capernaum is a biblical city that was located on the northern shore of the Sea of Galilee, near Bethsaida, the hometown of Simon Peter and Chorazin. We then sailed on the Sea of Galilee and hoisted the Brazilian flag on the boat. Next, we visited the Church of the Wedding in Cana of Galilee. The Church of the Wedding in Cana of Galilee is a sacred site for Christians because it is where, according to the Bible, Jesus performed his first miracle, turning water into wine during the wedding, as written in chapter 2, verses 1 to 11 of the Gospel of John. Then we went to Nazareth Village. It is an open-air museum in Nazareth, Israel, that recreates and reenacts life in a Galilean village during the time of Jesus. It is a great way to learn about the daily life and culture of the time. The Basilica of the Annunciation is a church in Nazareth, Israel, that is considered one of the most important monuments in the Christian world. The current church was built in 1969, but archaeological evidence shows that a church already existed at this site since at least the 3rd century AD. The basilica was built over the grotto where it is believed that Mary lived and the location of the Annunciation, where the Archangel Gabriel announced the birth of Jesus to the Virgin Mary. It is also considered the place where Jesus spent his adolescence. After visiting Nazareth, we headed to Jerusalem and stayed at the Prima Park Jerusalem Hotel. Jerusalem is a city rich in history and culture, with many tourist attractions to explore. Genesis Land is a theme park located in the heart of the Judean desert, on the way to the Dead Sea, in the land where the patriarchs lived. It is a magical place that allows visitors to experience life as it was in biblical times. Visitors are greeted by Eliezer, Abraham's servant, and a caravan of camels takes them to Abraham's tent, where they experience his legendary hospitality. You can participate in workshops such as making pita bread and shepherding, as well as enjoy meals and other activities. Abraham is an important figure in the Bible and is considered the father of the three main monotheistic religions, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. He is known for his faith in God and his hospitality. At Genesis Land, an actor portrays Abraham and tells stories about his life and times. It was at Genesis Land where I earned my camel driver certificate. Now I can boast about being a certified camel driver by Abraham and show everyone my certificate. Who knows, maybe I can even start giving camel driving lessons to other people. After visiting Genesis Land, we headed to the Old City of Jerusalem. The Old City is a walled area of 0.9 square kilometers in East Jerusalem and is traditionally divided into four unequal quarters: the Muslim quarter, the Christian quarter, the Armenian quarter, and the Jewish quarter. It is home to several sites of great importance and holiness for the three main Abrahamic religions: the Temple Mount and the Western Wall for Judaism, the Church of the Holy Sepulchre for Christianity, and the Dome of the Rock and the Al-Aqsa Mosque for Islam. After visiting the Old City of Jerusalem, we headed to Mount Sinai to visit the cenacle and the tomb of King David. The cenacle is a historic site that is considered the location of Jesus' Last Supper with his disciples. It is an important site for Christians and is visited by many pilgrims every year. After visiting the cenacle and the tomb of King David, we headed to the Old City of Jerusalem to visit the Garden Tomb. The Garden Tomb is a sacred site for Christians, as it is considered by some to be the location of Jesus' crucifixion, burial, and resurrection. It is a peaceful and serene place, perfect for prayer and reflection. After visiting the Garden Tomb, we went to the Old City of Jerusalem to visit Golgotha and the Holy Sepulchre. Golgotha is a hill outside the city walls of Jerusalem where Jesus was crucified. It is also known as Calvary. We also visited the Western Wall in Jerusalem. The Western Wall is a sacred site for Jews and is the only remaining wall of the retaining wall that surrounded the Temple Mount, the site of the first and second temples of Jerusalem. It is considered one of the holiest sites in Judaism and is visited by millions of pilgrims every year. Visitors often place prayer requests on small pieces of paper in the cracks of the wall. It is a place of great historical and religious significance.
Na visita ao Muro das Lamentações em Jerusalém, eu tirei uma foto com duas policiais de Israel. A Polícia de Israel é uma força profissional com cerca de 35 mil pessoas na folha de pagamento.
After visiting the Western Wall, we went to see the Via Dolorosa. The Via Dolorosa is a street in the Old City of Jerusalem that begins at the Lion's Gate and ends at the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. According to Christian tradition, this was the path that Jesus Christ carried the cross. The street has 9 of the 14 stations of the cross, with the last 5 stations located inside the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. The Via Dolorosa is a place of great importance to Christians and is visited by thousands of pilgrims every year. It is a place of reflection and prayer, where visitors can follow in Jesus' footsteps during his last moments. After walking the Via Dolorosa, we returned to the city of Jerusalem and decided to take a stroll through the city center at night. As it was Saturday, which is the weekly day of rest in Judaism called Shabbat, many establishments were closed. Nevertheless, we continued walking through the city center for over an hour. The next day, very early, we went to the Mount of Olives. There exists an olive tree that is considered one of the oldest in the world. According to some sources, the olive trees in the Garden of Gethsemane, at the foot of the Mount of Olives, are at least 900 years old. We visited the Basilica of Agony, which is located in the Garden of Gethsemane. The Basilica of Agony was built in 1924 on the site traditionally associated with the Garden of Gethsemane and houses a section of rock identified as the place where Jesus prayed alone in the garden on the night of his arrest. After crossing the border from Israel to Palestine and waiting for over an hour to pass, we visited the Nativity Cave in Bethlehem. This cave is considered the place where Jesus was born and is located inside the Basilica of the Nativity. After visiting the Nativity Cave, we entered the Chapel of the Field of the Shepherds. This chapel marks the place where, according to Catholic tradition, the angels first announced the birth of Christ to the shepherds. The Chapel of the Field of the Shepherds was built by the Franciscans in 1953 and was designed by the architect Antonio Barluzzi. After visiting the Chapel of the Field of the Shepherds, we went to the Church of the Nativity in Bethlehem, Palestine. This church is one of the oldest Christian churches in existence and is considered the place where Jesus was born. The first church on this site was built by the Roman Emperor Constantine and his mother Saint Helena in 326 AD. The next day, we had lunch at the Ramada Resort and Spa Dead Sea. This resort is located between the mountains of Mount Nebo and the Jordan River and offers the largest private sand beach, 2 pools, several food and beverage shops, a splendid spa, and a gym. There, I had Turkish coffee for the first time and saw how it's prepared. Turkish coffee is prepared in a special container called a cezve. The coffee is ground very finely and mixed with water and sugar, if desired, in the cezve. Then, the cezve is placed on low heat and the coffee is slowly heated until it starts to foam. The coffee is then served in small cups and should be allowed to rest for a few minutes before drinking to allow the coffee grounds to settle at the bottom of the cup. After having lunch at the Ramada Resort and Spa Dead Sea and trying Turkish coffee for the first time, we headed to Jericho. Jericho is a Palestinian city located in the West Bank. It is one of the oldest cities in the world and is situated in the Jordan Valley, with the Jordan River to the east and Jerusalem to the west. Archaeologists have discovered the remains of more than 20 successive settlements in Jericho, the earliest of which dates back to 11,000 years ago, 9000 BC. After visiting Jericho, you pass by the baptism site of Jesus Christ in Jordan. This site is known as Al-Ma'daz and is a UNESCO World Heritage Site located on the eastern bank of the Jordan River. It is considered the original site of the baptism of Jesus by John the Baptist and has been venerated as such since at least the Byzantine period. After walking to the border between Israel and Jordan at the Jordan River, we stayed at the Seven Roses Hotel. The Seven Roses Hotel is a 4-star luxury hotel located in the center of Amman's financial district and just a 5-minute walk from the Cosmos shopping mall. The next day, early in the morning, we walked around the city of Amman and passed by the Roman amphitheater of Amman. The amphitheater is from the 2nd century with a capacity for 6,000 people. It is a famous landmark in the Jordanian capital and dates back to the Roman period, when the city was known as Philadelphia. After visiting the Roman amphitheater of Amman, we headed to Mount Nebo. Mount Nebo is a sacred mountain in Jordan that is almost 1,000 meters high. The base of the mountain can be reached in a 15-minute drive from the center of Madaba. From the top of the mountain, visitors can see the Dead Sea, Bethlehem, and even Jerusalem on a clear day. Mount Nebo is mentioned in the Bible as the place where Moses was granted a view of the Promised Land before his death. At the top of Mount Nebo, there is an archaeological site that includes a memorial to Moses and a Byzantine church with impressive mosaics. After visiting Mount Nebo, we had lunch at Al-Hakia Restaurant. Al-Hakia Restaurant is a restaurant located in Madaba that offers a selection of delicious cold and hot messes, fresh juices, traditional coffee, and more. Then we visited the Church of St. George in Madaba. This church is famous for housing the Madaba mosaic map, which is part of a floor mosaic in the Byzantine Church of St. George in Madaba. The mosaic map depicts part of the Middle East and contains the oldest original cartographic representation of the Holy Land and especially Jerusalem. It dates back to the 6th century AD. Our trip to the Holy Land ended in Petra and we took a flight from Jordan to London. Upon arriving there in the morning, we decided to take a tour of London and had lunch.
Öyle de çıkarttı. Ano ba water? ازعني يا أخي. ازعني.
لا انا بجيب زيت.
لا ازعني شو انا صغير يا زلمه تبعت لي اياها انا اجي لك اياها ونضيف لك اياها. انا اكبر من انا اكبر من ابوك يا زلمه. انا اكبر من ابوك جاي تودي الكاسه مع محمود. يقول لي 3 more يقول لي this the high. 2 more another one.
It's
This-
okay.
يقول لي this.
No, a little bit
يقول لي
more.
yes this 3 more yeah this.
On the way to Petra, we saw a beautiful sunset. Petra is known for its stunning sunsets and is an amazing place to watch the sun go down. That night, we decided to do Petra by night. It is a light show that occurs after dark in Petra. It is known as a magical nighttime spectacle by travelers around the world because of the beautiful candlelit environment. Petra by night takes place every Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday of the week, starts at 8:30 p.m. at the Petra Visitor Center and ends around 10:30 p.m. We went to the treasury of Petra, also known as Al-Qatsneh. It is one of the most famous and iconic monuments in Petra. It is a large and ornate tomb carved into the face of the sandstone cliff, and is one of the most popular tourist attractions in the ancient city. It is believed to have been built in the 1st century AD by the Nabataean king Aretas IV. The next morning, we visited Petra during the day. Petra is one of the most incredible archaeological cities in the world and is often called one of the new 7 wonders of the world. It was built by the Nabataeans, a nomadic Arab group that lived in the region. Petra is located in what is now southern Jordan, next to the Jabal al-Madham mountain, not far from the Dead Sea. In front of the treasury of Petra, I took a photo with an original Bedouin. Bedouins are descendants of a nomadic tribe called the Nabataeans. They are mentioned in the Bible as people of Canaan. They have lived in Petra since prehistoric times and are descendants of the people who carved these magnificent structures into the sides of the mountains known as Petra. Our trip to the Holy Land ended in Petra and we took a flight from Jordan to London. Upon arriving there in the morning, we decided to take a tour of London and had lunch at the Bella Italia restaurant before taking the connecting flight in the evening. At the Bella Italia restaurant, we ate bruschetta and spaghetti bolognese. After lunch, we visited the London Eye, an observation wheel on the south bank of the River Thames in London. It is the tallest observation wheel in Europe and the most popular paid tourist attraction in the UK, with over 3 million visitors annually. After the London Eye, we passed in front of Big Ben. Big Ben is the name of a large bell installed in the northwest tower of the Palace of Westminster, the seat of the British Parliament, located in London. The official name of the tower in which Big Ben is located was originally Clock Tower, but it was renamed Elizabeth Tower in 2012 to mark the Diamond Jubilee of Queen Elizabeth II. After Big Ben, we stopped in front of Westminster Abbey. Westminster Abbey is a royal church that offers daily services for all and is a World Heritage Site with over 1,000 years of history. It is the coronation church since 1066 and is the resting place of over 3,000 Great Britons. We ended the tour at Buckingham Palace. Buckingham Palace is the London residence and administrative headquarters of the monarch of the United Kingdom. Located in the city of Westminster, the palace is often the centre of state occasions and royal hospitality. It has been a focal point for the British people in times of national celebration and mourning. After visiting Westminster Abbey, we went to London Airport and took the flight to Brazil. The flight time from London to Sao Paulo is approximately 12 hours and 16 minutes. Upon arrival at Guarulhos Airport, I saw the sunrise. And so, with the sunrise at Guarulhos Airport, our 2023 vacation to the Holy Land came to an end. They were incredible days, full of adventures and discoveries. We visited historic and sacred places, met wonderful people, and tasted delicious food. This trip will forever be in our memories and in our hearts. Until the next adventure.